Hello, we are here to show you how to replace your clutch pack on a DL501 to install the JHM R15 clutch pack assembly, which is an upgrade for your B8 S4-S5 30T, B8 RS5 4.2 liter V8, and your C7 S6-S7 4.0T. So once the transmission's out of the car, we have it on the bench. You can do this on a jack stand right under the car, just quickly swap it out. There's 3 bolts here for the half shaft. We've already loosened them. These were 10 millimeter triple square. I'm sure there's some torques on some models and years. I've seen them different on different cars. So that this comes out. Sometimes you have to, maybe get a little smack, but it's a half shaft that connects to the other side of the front. Yeah. Then the flywheel just comes out. Wiggle it, take it off. Doesn't matter the brand of flywheel, comes off the same. So it doesn't really matter on the flywheel, just splines on. So then you're next going to take off these T30s. We already did it. They're little 8 millimeter bolts. So you get those all off. And then it's ready to come out. We just have a bearing splitter. This is an actual OTC. You could probably get something cheap at Harbor Freight, whatever. But this is the best way to get it out. I know some people are using a small hook and pulling down here, but you could damage the actual flange on it. So you just want to get it snug on the snout. Some are going to be stuck on there a bit more than others based on how many miles you've been driving it. Then you just need a slide hammer. Ideally, having the right attachment that screws right in here would work, but I'm just trying to show you what most people might have access to. You could generally just use a claw and kind of hold it yourself, and you're just going to start bumping it. There it goes. So I'm being nice with it. Depending on the mileage, it's going to take a little more. So we're just going to leave it there for a second. And then you're just going to, you want to keep a little bit of pressure down below because this goes right into the pump. So these sealing rings seal to the pump to get the fluid to the clutches. Then your pump assembly's there. Okay, now that you got the clutch out of the transmission, the whole basket needs to be separated from the cover. So to do that, you actually have to get this seal off. You can use a standard seal puller and then just hit it down. You only want to be careful that you're not hitting a sharp edge into the edge of here. You don't want to ruin the seal surface. That's why I made sure I was very parallel to it. And then the next step is you just undo this snap ring right here. So you pop the snap ring, this slides off, you keep all of that. You only send in the basket. Okay, so now we've got the snap ring off, just your standard snap ring pliers. So that's off. And then the fun part, sometimes this can be a little sticky. I just seriously put it against me. So it could be fun. Just got it, so you're getting the cover off. Obviously you can get some crazy puller and all that, but just kind of that and a little bit of gravity and just tapping on this. This is hardened. You'd have to wail on it to round it off. So you're going to set this aside. You're going to keep this. You'll be putting another seal and O-ring on this later. So you're going to keep these. And this is the component that you will send us for your clutch upgrade. So here's how to get the clutch basket back into the transmission. You've already replaced this back on it. This is just the factory one from your car that you're going to reuse. We're going to include a new seal and a new ring here. You should just get a thin layer of oil on here to help it go in. Seal's installed, the clip's back in. We'll go through that previously. So you want to kind of lay it in there. And you kind of want to support it because you got gravity. Ideally, the transmission standing up on end is the easiest way, but that's going to be hard. So you got to get the splines lined up first because you got the K1 and the K2 shaft. You got to kind of wiggle it, and I'm pushing pressure under here to help lift it up and in. So then wiggling it, then it reaches a point where it'll stick. You also got to get this clocked correctly. So when it gets to the point where it sticks, you tend to just plunge in and out. See, boom. So I'm not going to hit it. I'm not going to get crazy. You're just going to start plunging in and out. It's getting closer. So sometimes some twists, and then a little bit more plunging in and out. You're lining up the oil rings, the two shafts, and the clutches. He'll cut it up, don't worry. There you go. So just some wiggling. So now I went a hair too far, so now I gotta get this, pull it back a hair and twist the outer housing until the bolts line up. What I always remember is this open hole sitting here. So now that the bolts are lined up, what you're gonna wanna do is just put them in there by hand and loosely, lightly tighten them in, walk it down, and then torque them. There are 8mm bolts, it should be about 20 Newton meters. And that's it, it's installed. Flywheel goes back in, half shaft goes back in.